Today on This Week in iPad, we've got the Fly Girls from dayfly.com, plus another Planet of the Apps with a sports focus, and I'm going to show you how to wear your iPad. Hello everyone out there in internet land. I'm Andrea Renee and you're watching another episode of This Week in iPad. I am here with my awesome co-host Jacob Birch.
Much better. Again, better than complimenting me than Lon ever was, so I appreciate that.
Well, you know, I like to start the show off on a positive note.
So do I. And it was a positive week for Apple, so
it was
might as well echo it.
Some crazy news that came in for Apple this week. But before we get to that, I do want to make sure I give a big thank you to StormOnDemand.com. You wouldn't be able to watch This Week in iPad, This Week in video games, This Week in movies, or any of our other awesome This Week in shows if we didn't have Storm On Demand. For all your cloud computing needs, visit StormOnDemand.com.
And where would your life be without This Week in iPad? And This Week in Mad Men, where other cool people,
you know This Week in video games, you know, the show that comes up right after ours?
Not as cool.
Whatever, you just told me you were playing D&D yesterday. Who's calling you out? That's right,
I'm going to go hide under these show notes real quick.
Speaking of games, we are going to start the show off, before we get to that exciting Apple news, with the iPad Game of the Week. Oh, that's fantastic. I love it.
It's this music I go to bed to at night. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, you one of those
Lullaby-ic.
music sleepers?
I am. Not that song, but I actually am. Yeah.
You know, I prefer music than TV. Some people leave the TV on and fall asleep to it. Not my thing.
Sea Change by Beck, that'll do it.
I'll have to look that one up.
Little tip.
Maybe I'll look it up on my iPad later. But speaking of games, what I really want to talk about, this week I am featuring a brand new game that came out. It's called Samurai 2 Vengeance. Now this is a sequel to the Samurai Warrior that came out a while ago by Madfinger Games. Now this is both available on the iPhone and on the iPad. And of course we're talking about on the iPad today. Now, while the original got rave reviews for its stylized manga graphics and quick, bloody gameplay, Samurai 2 delivers even more action and a new control scheme. What's really cool about this is it really reminds me of playing an actual video game. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you the gameplay right away.
Are iPad games not actual video games? I'm wondering, you're on the video game show. They get the label casual games.
Okay, yes, exactly. A lot of iPad games, and I'm a huge fan of casual games. But this is not a casual game. This is a slice and dice, fighting game. And it also has, which I will show you, it has a simulated joystick and dual buttons on the side. So you really are kind of like, it's simulating what you would have on a controller versus just being like touch control. You know what I mean? Like touch, push oriented.
I might have a few questions to follow up, but I'll let you continue the review.
Okay,
while
great.
I think of those.
So I'll go ahead and just show you the game. And I'm just going to start off from the beginning, and I can show you the level I'm on later. A little bit about this app. It is a universal app. It supports iPhone 3G, iPhone 3GS, iPhone 4, iPod Touch 3G, and the iPad. And it's optimized to take advantage of each of the device's strengths. Now, all of the cutscenes are here like you see in kind of comic book fashion. Kind of gives like the backstory. The samurai warrior comes to this village. There's of course a group of bullies that are kind of holding the villagers hostage, so he's coming in to save the day. Sorry, I got fingerprints. I was hammering away. So as you can see here on the left-hand side is your simulated joystick. You can run around in circles here. Your buttons are over here. We have a light attack, heavy attack, and then your your evasive move. So basically the graphics for what it is are fantastic. Got some nice blood going on. So this is definitely nothing I would call a family-friendly game. See, I just sliced him right in half. Blood splatters the screen. I mean, the gameplay itself, as you can see, it's basically, you can do a series of combination moves. And you can unlock combination moves as you go along throughout the game. Now, I've unlocked two combinations. I have circle, 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 and XXX, which are two kind of like just melee attacks. And then you have to use, the evasive moves to make sure that you keep your health up. But I mean, this is pretty much it. The story is pretty neat. You know, it's typical samurai trying to avenge his family's death, trying to find this evil demon, and you have to go through and save all these different villages on the way. I mean, and there's definitely some puzzle elements involved. As you can see here, that section is locked because I haven't killed somebody yet. Oh, there he is. Finish him off. I really just love that. I mean, it simulates the joystick move is really. I find that a lot of iPad games, it's really difficult to move around in, and this one is actually pretty simple because the focus of the game isn't really the movement. It's more of, the fighting. And then there's also action buttons. Like here, there's an action button. So now he pulls this lever and he takes off in this little magical floating platform. And as you go on, obviously this is the first level, so it's pretty simple. But the bosses get significantly more difficult as you go along, of course. Makes sense. It gets harder. And the combinations you unlock get really, really cool. All right, so I'm just gonna take a time out to show you. So that's basically the gameplay, right? So up here is you have the scroll. This is where your combo lists were. As you can see, I haven't unlocked any of these combos yet. And then you have to use your karma points that you see here to buy the combos. Now you gain karma points by both killing enemies and slicing open these random barrels that you've seen me walk by. So the more enemies you kill, the more karma points you get. And with all these barrels you see, you can unlock those as well, and they give you karma points. So what do you think, Jacob? Ah, look at that. See, I sliced him right in half.
So I'm going back to the real game versus casual game argument. My opinion, one of my favorite games that I play is actually an iPhone game, the EA FIFA game, which does the same thing, and that you have two buttons, an A and a B, and you sort of a joystick thing. But I've always found that the best games get away from trying to emulate something that they're not, because you don't get that tactile reinforcement that you get with a button, on a controller.
Right.
Do you think more and more games should be doing what this game is doing and emulating it, or should more and more be just thinking more outside the box and trying to come up with a way to have a hack and slash game without needing to have a joystick and two buttons?
Well, I mean, that's a really good question.
I'm a stumper. That's what I do.
I feel like I don't want to say that all games should be like this because, I mean, obviously there's some games on the iPad, for instance, one of the biggest games, Angry Birds, that has nothing to do with the motion of an actual video game controller, and that was extremely successful. It was also a casual game. I feel like if iPad is really going to try to tap into the hardcore gamer market, which is where they're missing out on right now, then they need to develop more games like this that allow players to kind of get that simulated action that they're looking for without it being overly complicated. Like as you can see with this game, it's not complicated. There's really two buttons, three buttons if you include the evasive move. And you just have to learn how to use a series of combos. Like most traditional fighting games, you have to learn combos in order to kind of increase your skill. It's not a button masher is what I'm trying to say. I mean, and it has that, that kind of bloody gore element that a lot of hardcore gamers absolutely need in their gaming experience. And while I don't think that all games, iPad games, need to go that route, I think that it's not going to hurt them if they do. You know what I'm saying?
I know, pure speculation, I don't think it's even going this route, but people have speculated, they could make a Bluetooth controller that would be like that, but that sort of goes against the idea of it's, this thin thing that you can carry around. And so it might just be a thing where they just don't go after it, and they let Nintendo hit that niche, and they think it's a small enough a niche that it's not going to matter. But we'll see. Because there's other games, you can never really do... in my mind, a huge, MMORPG without a keyboard and mouse, just because there's so many things for you to sort of...
Yeah. Well, I mean, now that there was that news story that came out that said that they are going to make the horizontal dock for the iPad.
Yeah.
in the new version, and so that'll allow you hopefully to dock right into a peripheral keyboard, which may allow you to do those kinds of games if you can have the keyboard, with it's almost like it's making the iPad into a mini laptop. Essentially, that's the way that I kind of when I was telling people about, how. Obviously, you read the story that Mac put out their new MacBook Air this week.
You're right.
And I was kind of like, what's the point of having a MacBook Air when you can just get an iPad? Especially since if you really need that full keyboard, you can just buy the peripheral keyboard that are available right now for the iPads.
And I'm sort of going into the whole OS X thing later, but I think the basic issue is there, one, a mouse, and two, real multiprocessing support. Sort of a windowing system. Openness, if you were a coder or a video editor, you can't really do it on the iPad, but...
That's a very valid point that I didn't think about, because my inner geek isn't turned on right now. So this is Samurai 2 Vengeance. It's a fantastic game. I really like it. It's only $2.99. It has a very strong RPG element. You can upgrade the health. It runs at 60 frames a second, as you saw. It looks fantastic on the iPad. It has goal-oriented action planning, which is a type of architecture in gaming that's used on the major platforms, PC, PS3, Xbox. And it was developed on the Unity 3D 3.0 engine, the latest technology available on mobile devices. So I give this a double thumbs up, because this is a fantastic game. It gives you that kind of fighter thing that I've been lacking in some of the iPad games that I've been playing, and it's only $3. It's a win-win.
A real steal when it comes to
Absolutely.
$5 to $6 for games seems to be the going rate. Unless it's EA, then they'll charge you 13 or 14. So
right, exactly. So this is a great deal. If you're looking for a game, check it out. All right, so this is the time of the show where I want to give another big shout out to Hover.com. We love all of our friends over at Hover.
Hoover. Jason Calacanis says Hoover, which I've never understood.
That's the double O. That's the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
Or the president.
And all of our developers who we've brought in from Wisconsin all say Hoover. It's Hover. Hover. The American.
Hover, yes, it's Hover.com. If you go to twi.hover.com, you can save 10% on your domain purchase. And in fact, our friends over at Hover sent me this really cool email today talking to me all about their new transferring service. Now, basically, what this means is that they understand that a lot of people out there already own domains from other companies. Obviously, they haven't been around as long as some of the other, domain servers have. And so what they want to do is they want to make transferring your domain to Hover as easy as possible. So what they have is they have this screen that you can go to that I have right here, where you can just type in your current domain, and you can hit check my domain, and it'll check it for you right then, and it'll tell you. And for the low price of $10, they will transfer everything for you, and they'll even extend your domain registration for 1 year past its current expiration date. So you're just paying $10 for a whole year for your domain, which is probably cheaper than a lot of other places that you're probably paying for it. And remember, you get the Who Is Privacy for free when you register with Hover, which you don't get when you register with a lot of other domain services.
Who won't go named?
No, I'm not going to name names. My website is hosted by somebody else, and they do charge me for privacy, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to go on and do this. It's funny, because last week on the show, I was talking about Hover and their .me's. You can get a .me for only $5, and I said, I'm going to go and buy AndreaRenee.me after the show, and wouldn't you know it, one of my amazing fans bought it for me. So now I have it, cached, waiting for me.
It's just waiting.
So if you guys have a bunch of domains, they have a $25 flat rate service. Let's say you have maybe you're like a web guru and you have 50 domains and you want them all with Hover.com. For a $25 flat rate, they will transfer all of those domains to Hover.com for you. So check it out, twi.hover.com, if you're looking at transferring a domain or buying a new one. All right, on to the news.
Woo!
What are you typing in madly over there?
I'm checking, jacobburch.com and .net are not on Hover yet. Although the place I'm with, I've never been happy with. It's crashed my browser quite a few times.
Well, then you should look at transferring.
That's what I'm doing.
Exactly. See, you can get 10% off.
Yeah, and I am one of those web geeks who has, I think I have 25 or something domains out there.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I think I missed out on that whole, buying domains to make a profit craze.
None of mine are at all. Although, I do have one 3-letter .net that will go nameless because I like to use it for secret things, but that I'm pretty proud of. But other than that, it's boring stuff that no one would ever want to pay me a lot of money for. So.
Oh, well, maybe if you put them up online, I'll go look at them sometime.
Speaking of things you never spend a lot of money on, let's talk about 7-inch tablets.
Oh, yes.
Oh, transitioning, it's what I do.
Yes, the big news of the week. There will never be a 7-inch iPad. Wah, wah. There was a pretty amazing quote that came out from Steve Jobs over the weekend, or over the week, I should say. He basically confirmed that there will never be a 7-inch iPad because it's too small. Here's his quote. I just have to read this. The size isn't sufficient to create great tablet apps in our opinion. While one could increase the resolution of the display to make up for some of the differences, it is meaningless unless your tablet also includes sandpaper, so that the user can sand down their fingers to around 1/4 of their present size. Now that's a pretty bold statement.
Ooh, yeah.
But I mean, it's Steve Jobs. He can get away with that.
Hey, look at that. On fire. I wasn't even expecting that one. I got a little,
That was like the third time I said it, too.
Well, they were like, all right, they're going to talk about Steve, good old sickly-looking Steve.
Yeah, so what do you think about this?
I mean, it's where I was banning this drum for a long, long time when people were like, when the iPhone was announced, oh, it's going to be iPad 7 small inch, no. When the iPods were released, it's going to be a 7-inch, no. And I said maybe, and I started relenting, and I'm sort of regretting I did because Steve backed up my original opinion. Maybe in January they would introduce it. I would be shocked. I said surprised or shocked if that would replace the larger iPad as opposed to just supplementing it. But I gave it an okay. So this doesn't shock me at all. It's sort of been my thought. I don't think this is too big. I never understood why they would make a 7-inch unless it was drastically cheaper. And that would be the only thing they could try and sell more, but doesn't surprise me if they really feel like it was just not a pleasant experience. The main fault of using tablets is that you need to use this really pudgy, smushy, greasy thing to control it, and it's not always the most accurate in taking away, a good chunk of the screen space. Just doesn't sound fun to me.
Right, exactly. I mean, when you talk about making it smaller than it already is, you're really talking about having to go into the realm of using a stylus, and then it takes away half the fun of it.
Yeah, I think another Steve quote that came around goes, if you're using a stylus, you're doing it wrong, I think is basically what he said. And that makes sense. Now, a 7-inch for a tablet-like device, like for something that would be primarily used as an e-reader, maybe a movie watcher, I think that might make sense. But if you're talking information-consuming games, apps, something that is a very multi-use device, it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right, exactly. I mean, and there's been so much hype going around about this 7-inch. Is there going to be one? There wasn't one? And,
well, every rumor has said, yeah, it's going to be 7 inches, duh. And it's like, oh, wow, you guys got punked. Again.
Exactly.
Just wait until January. Show me the tablet. That's my golden rule when it ever comes to these rumors. And it's great to hear Steve sort of smush some of them down.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this is interesting that we're talking about the tablets, because Samsung's Galaxy Tab just got its pricing point. The story came out, I believe, yesterday. So it'll be $600, just under the base model for the iPad. Do you think it's actually going to be a viable computer?
No. Who spend $100 more to get something that's like the iPad, not the iPad? It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sure there will be people that buy it. I'm not saying it's going to go Dell Streak or the Microsoft Kin on us. People will buy it. The people who hate Apple because they're self-loathing or whatever reason, or will buy it. People who like the openness of Android and like want to be able to root their thing and play around with it will get one. And then maybe some people who just happen to see one and want to stick it to the man. Other than that, I don't see it selling a lot until they can get it a lot cheaper, unless they do a big, massive marketing push. But BlackBerry tried that with their Storm around the iPhone era and didn't do anything. So nothing in the tab. It looks, from everything I've seen, it looks pretty neat. 7-inch thing, sort of accepting. It looks like they did a good job. Android 2.2, Froyo's on and all that. So it seems nice, but there's nothing that says, oh, that's so much better than the iPad. There's nothing that says that. Absolutely.
In the App Store that's available for Android is, 90,000 apps, while the, the Apple App Store is like 300,000 apps.
Yeah, and
I mean, it's just a gigantic difference.
And the non-Apple, I think RIM is really the one touting this for their playbook, as opposed to Samsung, which is more just going, ours is a better device. RIM is really playing up Flash. And it's like, I don't think anyone is like dying. If they can get on YouTube, which they can on their iPad, if they can get Hulu, which they can on their iPad, no one's going, I need Flash, oh my God. My tablet doesn't have Flash, I'm going to die. They like to use that as a selling point. I don't think it's a selling point. I think it's a bashing point. I think you can lower iPad sales with it, but no one is actually buying based on Flash capability.
No, I completely agree with you there 100%. I mean, the thought didn't even cross my mind. You know, when I got the iPad. If anything, you stumble across a website that has Flash, and you're like, oh, I can't watch that video. Oh well, I'll find it somewhere else. Because, like you said, there are a lot of other places to watch videos. So, and speaking of Apple and their awesomeness, which we kind of talk about every week here on This Week in iPad, another story came out that said that Apple sold 14.1 million iPhones and more iPads than iMacs or MacBooks or any other kind of Mac computer. Isn't that kind of crazy? More iPads than Macintosh computers?
I think it's to be expected. The price point's lower. It's the item you gotta have. I think a Mac laptop really is the only item that students feel more and more. Oh, I need to get a laptop. I need a laptop for university. Might as well get an Apple one because they're all cool and I see people dancing with them and all that. But other than that, it's really the iPhone and the iPad that have this sort of fever pitch that people are just so excited to get one and to play around with one. And starting at $500 and then subsidized $200 on the iPhone, it's obtainable. It's a status symbol that is easily obtainable. Whereas even a cheap MacBook Pro you're looking at $1,200 or $1,300. Now the Air might change some of that, and it'll be
that price point's coming in right at like $900, I think.
$999
for the MacBook Air. Yeah.
It starts there. The 13-inch gets in at like $1,200, I think, maybe a little bit more. Point being, it's getting there, but it's getting closer and closer and closer. But for the most part, it's not that status symbol. It's not that sort of feverish thing that people just gotta have. So that doesn't surprise me. I think a lot of people were saying, oh, it's going to it's. Granted, it was lower than iOS sales, but it's still, I think, 22 billion sales in Mac over the. That's still
right around there. Yeah, it says here $20 billion revenue was a record for the company. It was a staggering $4.3 billion profit. And it says Apple basically sold as many iPhones as they could make. So they would come off the conveyor belt and go into a box and get into someone's hands. There have been over 125 million iOS devices, that's iPhones, iPads, iTouches, sold. 125 million.
That's a good chunk.
That's insane. That's what that is. Yeah. That's enough for 1 out of every 3 people in the United States to have some kind of Mac device.
Or 5,000 in case of me. How many? Because it's only 3. Only 3. I've had 2 iPhones and an iPad.
Oh, you know what? Okay, that makes sense. Because I guess when you think about it, people that buy Apple products tend to stay in the Apple family. I have a MacBook, I have an iPad, I have an iPod Touch, and I have like 3 other iPods, like an iPod Mini and...
My first computer was a Quattro in 1997, I think. So I've been here a while.
Yeah, no, see...
And it's cool again. Yay, I used to get made fun of.
You know, it did kind of back in the day. It was kind of like Apple was the nerdy thing to have.
Good luck playing Doom on that.
Everyone was like, PC is the best. And I'm not going to lie, I maybe have shouted that once or twice in my life when I was younger and
not all of us had the foresight of OS 9 was terrible. It's okay. Apple didn't get good till Steve came back. So.
Well, I mean, and let's be honest.
Thank you, guys. I love it.
Speaking of you and your love for Apple, what is this news that you were talking about, the OS X event, and what it means for iPad owners?
So the OS X event was yesterday, largely, obviously, about OS X and things that were coming out. So nothing directly concerning the iPad. Some people, again, were saying, they're going to talk about it. No, they're not. That said, so Lion's coming out in probably summer of 2011, which will be the new version of OS X. And the main thing Steve sort of wanted to beat into it is that they're stealing all the good ideas that they got from the iPad into it. There'll be an app store available in, I think he said within 60 to 90 days. And and a lot of the sort of using touch-based motions to control more and more of the computer. That's something they're going to throw in. Full screen apps is something that they want to throw in there and be able to ease in and out of them. So if anything, it might mean if you have an iPad and you're loving it, transitioning to buying a computer, an Apple, if you don't have one, is going to be easier. They also announced, iLife, which will take on same features. iPhoto will be full screen. It'll have a much more sort of iPad sort of experience. Again, an easier transition, although also making the overture that maybe the Photos app for the iPad will get more and more like the iPhoto and iLife. Sort of that transition. So basically the main news is that the Gap is transitioning. It'll be more seamless. Just 2 notes real quick. Some people were really, I think, overreacting to this news, saying that the Apple computers are eventually, within 2 or 3 years, just going to become iOS devices, completely closed box, a walled garden. A friend I was arguing with Twitter was calling it. And to me, this makes no sense. They like to say, oh, Apple's so closed, look at the App Store, all of this. And it's like, yes, but it makes sense for them to do that because they're providing the best way to download apps and stuff like that. To me, this fairer comparison is DRM in the iTunes Store, which is what they had. And so many people are saying, oh, Apple wants to keep that. They're going to force you to only get iTunes information on iPods.
Well, they caught a lot of heat for that. I, for one, was very against Apple's DRM policies.
But the thing is, so was Apple. Apple hated it. Apple wanted to get rid of it. It was only the RIA was the only people wanting to stay on. Because Apple knew that having that degree of openness would just move more products, more iPods, more... When it's open and you don't hate it anymore and you want that MP3 and it becomes easy to download an MP3, people are going to want to do that. Right. And I see that same thing happening on the App Store there. So that's my mini rant on that. The only other thing that I could maybe see that I kind of got sort of reading between the lines is when you saw all the demos of the new apps and the demos of the new operating system, they were largely using and touting using multi-touch to move things around, to do multitasking things and stuff like that, and very little clicking or typing and stuff like that. And it's interesting to me that so much of, especially when 4.2 hits, control over iOS comes from this one button on the home screen, which is a little awkward. You want to process between all the apps that you have open, hit twice, and it sort of takes you away from that experience. So I wouldn't be shocked, maybe not by iPad 2, but maybe a little bit later down the line, they get rid of this thing, and they have a way to sort of have a universal gesture that will handle all of the multitasking operations. So it's the only thing that I'm maybe speculating about.
You know what's funny about you bringing that up is I hardly ever multitask on my iPad.
Well, I mean, that's because, you barely can right now. But come 4.2, you'll be able to have Pandora running alongside the Safari, and then it's same thing with the iPhone. Is like I barely was, switching between apps. I stuck in one. But then, 4.0 hit, I hit my 4, and then immediately I'm double tapping all the time. So it'll happen. Wait for November, I promise.
All right, I will keep my fingers crossed.
And much more serious news.
Yes, this is very, very serious news. I came across this story and I couldn't help but talk about it. Now, what this is, it's called the iPad Sight Shirt. And, the internet is always full of surprises, but a lot of people think that this is just a little ridiculous. It's an iPad shirt, like literally an iPad shirt. As you can see here, there is a pocket with a clear plastic cover. You can slide your iPad into it and wear your iPad around. And I was kind of like, okay, wait a minute, where would you use this? And then look they have a girl at the pizza box here, and her iPad says it's hot pizza. And then they have another girl with looks like an aquarium. And then I don't know where this person is or what this is, but they're just kind of wearing their iPad out. I mean, this to me is, I don't even see the practical purpose of this. I guess if you have a lot of money to spend on your marketing budget, it could be a good marketing tool if you're at like some kind of tech-based conference, like BlizzCon that's happening tomorrow.
Calling it a tech conference is very kind.
It's a geek conference, really is what it is.
Awesome, amazing. I'm going to play StarCraft, watch StarCraft all day long. It's going to be amazing. You could download a really big clock app and just put it down and look a little bit, just look a little awesome.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Look like you're in Public Enemy. It'll be good.
Yeah, so this is kind of funny. This is a company actually based out of San Diego, and they're custom handmade. Every shirt is handmade. They're $50 for this T-shirt for the smalls, and if you get into like the extra large and double XL, they're like 60, 65.
I would like to know how many they move. Is it one a month?
It would be interesting to know. I was
Saturday night they sell 2 because people get drunk and that's a great idea. And
I know. What I'll have to do is I'll have to give them a call and see if we can get ourselves a matching pair of iPad T-shirts so we can wear on the show.
Just what I need.
And then we could put our iPads in our T-shirts.
We'll do the entire show. See, this is what's going on. Oh, it's not quite working out.
So I guess if you want to wear your iPad, it's called Site Shirt. That's SYTE shirt.com. If you pull the website back up, you can see it says right here, iPad Site Shirt. So if you want to buy someone a really expensive gag gift, there you go, iPad shirt. So speaking of interesting objects laying around the house, Gazelle.com helps you sell these interesting objects. That's right, we love Gazelle.com. You can get cash for your gadgets. The average customer makes more than $100 every time they Gazelle their gadgets. Plus, you can use our promo code TWI5 and get a 5% bonus on the final trade-in value of your items. They take game consoles, cell phones, computers, cameras, all kinds of stuff. They even take DVDs, video games, which you can't use your promo code on, by the way. But nearly 100,000 people have used Gazelle to safely rid themselves of unwanted gadgets and earn some cash while doing it. So you have some stuff that's maybe sitting in a closet or on a shelf or in a box or in your storage unit that you're like, hey, maybe I should stop pretending like I'm actually going to use that old Kodak EasyShare camera again. And, you know, buy yourself a new one and sell your old one on Gazelle.com.
And get rid of it safely, freely, even if you don't make any money, and you probably will.
Absolutely. And it's also, that's a really good point that you bring up. It's a really good way to recycle your old electronics without having to pay someone to haul them off for you.
And it's super easy, too. So you're moving away and you just want to get rid of it. Get a little scratch if you can, but you mostly just want it to go away. I moved a few months ago, and I had so much crap. So some of it was mine, some of it was deadbeat roommates, but just had to get rid of it, and ended up being this great ordeal, rain, hauling stuff to Goodwill, and you don't have to go through that if you go through Gazelle.
Fantastic. You heard it straight from our lips. Gazelle.com. And don't forget the promo code. I don't know if we showed it to you guys. TWI5. It gives you a 5% bonus on the final trade-in value of your item. All right, now this is my favorite time of the show. That's right, it's time for the iPad video of the week, and this one is a doozy. When I saw this video, I laughed out loud. It's fantastic, it's super creative, it's very well done. That's right, it's called Tweet It. It's a Michael Jackson parody of the song Beat It, obviously. And it's iPads versus iPhones, because, you know, it's kind of like that, you know, West Side Story. Like gang fight through dance. Exactly,
right.
That's it.
When you're a Mac for life.
So it's our generation's face-off in the ISO knife fight. It's from a YouTube channel called Pantsless Nights, and we're gonna go ahead and roll the video for you. So take a look.
Start to watch Glee, it's really fast on 4G, so tweet it, just tweet it. You better type, you better do it real fast. Don't go above 140 letter max. Remember, some devices do not support flash, so tweet it. While you're clearing your cache, just tweet it, tweet it. Justin Bieber gets defeated. We're all micro-bloggers with a device. In YouTube comments, we win the fights. Just tweet it, just tweet it, just tweet it, tweet it, just your Twitter gets around. Your Siskel and your Ebert don't put your thumbs down. So tweet it, just tweet it. You got an iPhone and you gotta be glad until you saw your dad whip out his new iPad. You want an iPad, it's gonna be the new fad. So tweet it, cause you gotta be dad. Tweet it, tweet it. Justin Bieber gets defeated. We're all micro bloggers with a device. In YouTube comments, we win the fights. Tweet it, tweet it. Justin Bieber gets defeated. We're all micro bloggers with a device. In YouTube comments, we win the fights. Just tweet it. Tweet it, tweet it, tweet it. Tweet it, tweet it, tweet it. Tweet it, tweet it. Justin Bieber gets defeated. We're all micro bloggers with a device. In YouTube comments, we win the fights. Tweet it, tweet it. Kids with ADD can read it. Show them they're hungry for your insights. It doesn't matter if you can't write. Tweet it.
All right, if you guys want to watch the full Tweet It video, you're going to have to go to YouTube. Again, that's from Pantsless Nights. And when I saw that, I just had to make sure that we showed it on the show this week because I think the production value is pretty impressive for a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And got all the moves down right. I think it was nearly perfect emulation for...
Yes.
Had to take some while.
Indeed.
Little white boy dancing.
Well, I hope you guys noticed that we have two beautiful ladies with us in the studio today. They are the Fly Girls from dayfly.com and App a Day. They do app reviews on all kinds of fun iPad, and you guys do iPhone reviews too, right?
Yes,
for apps?
iPad, and even Droid reviews.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
This is Erin and Beate. So welcome to the show today, ladies. So let's talk about Dayfly. For all of our viewers out there who have never seen Dayfly or heard of Dayfly, what would you tell them Dayfly is all about?
You want to go for it?
Sure. Dayfly is a website that we do app reviews in a fun, flirty, informative way. So it's just basically a more approachable way for apps to be reviewed.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I do have your guys' site up here so you guys can take a look at it. I see that your app that you have featured is the Kama Sutra app. And what is that app all about? Or should we watch the video?
I don't know.
Should we not watch the video?
Andrea, I don't know if we can talk about that too much.
Oh, it sounds a little risque. I'm blushing.
Yeah.
It's getting hot in here. Jacob, how you doing over there?
I'm fine.
Yeah?
Super.
I don't know. I think
Off
you're turning
camera.
a little
Off camera.
red.
Yeah.
I think I'm turning red.
A little red, Jacob.
I might have watched it prior to the show
What
Good.
did you
a
think
couple
about it?
times. No comment. No.
Oh, come on.
It is a PG show in the Kama Sutra, not so PG.
Right. There's
Right.
many positions.
On the Kama, yes, you can take many different positions.
Do you
on
have
the
to be
Kama
18
Sutra.
or older to buy the app?
Probably 17. I think.
17?
It
I don't know
does
those
that
rules.
mature warning. It's like this
You
could
get
make
a
adult.
mature warning.
Yeah. You have to enter
okay.
in your birth date. I mean, you're like, okay. You know.
I always go to like really old. I always pick like 1910 or something like that because
Yeah.
they never check. They don't really care.
Right.
It's just like a formality for them.
Right.
So, but this is a really cool site. If you guys are looking for reviews for apps, they also have free apps. You guys do a free app a day, correct?
Yes.
That's correct. Yeah.
We talk about apps that, usually there's apps that are like 99 cents and there's apps that are $100 even. So we always if they go on sale or they become free, we want to highlight it just to make sure people can grab them when they're free.
Absolutely. Everyone likes getting stuff for free.
Yeah.
Totally.
Especially if it's like a kind of like a short window, you kind of feel like you scored even more. You're like, yes,
This
I
is
got
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Because like then the next day it like goes back up to like $6.99
Yeah.
or $9.99. Some of the apps are really expensive.
Really expensive. I've seen
Very
ones for like
expensive.
$99. There's one that I saw was $127 with some
Right,
survival kit.
Yeah,
And I
Contact
was like,
Spy is like it's super expensive, but they go on sale.
Yeah.
So it's great. You know, you can kind of keep your eye out for
and you can
it.
catch them for free. So we always want to, make sure people can get a
Yeah.
bargain.
So what are some of the favorite app reviews that you've worked on since you've been working with Dayfly?
There's a few.
I think for me, because I'm kind of like a walking dude, is iFart. Till this day, like I'm obsessed
iFart.
with iFart. It's just different like fart sounds.
Really?
Yeah, but I'm obsessed. It's a good gig in the office.
Oh, you know what?
It's
That's
funny.
a really good idea. I should get that and just walk up to people sitting at
Yes,
their developer
you'd be-
desks.
yes, you'd be
and
the
do fart
developer
sounds
hit.
right behind
Yeah.
them.
We'd be your favorite, yeah.
And then even something like Talking Tom or like the little Talking Carl review apps are always fun, and anything that's
Fun and silly. I mean, I'm a little bit more traditional. I like the crossword puzzles and things like that, or the MLB app, which was really great for a baseball season.
Yeah, we're actually talking about that in our Planet of the Apps that we're going to do
Really?
next. Yes. So how did you guys get involved with Dayfly?
How did Dayfly happen? It's kind of ironic because Dayfly started from something completely non-techy. It started from a sport, from soccer. Beaty and I, we have a production company, and we were actually doing a television show, or a web show rather, called World Cup News Girls. And we were profiling, just getting ready for the World Cup. And we just things that interest us, and we have a soccer team. So we were like, hey, let's do a show about this. And then someone approached us, and we're like, you guys are hilarious. This is really fun. It's an approachable way for not only men, but women to know about a sport that's, not hugely popular here in the United States. So he was like, hey, what about apps? Because apps aren't sometimes that approachable, and like the reviews that are online. So that's kind of how Dayfly began, and we just, kind of grew organically from there.
Yeah, we did a video about the La Di Da app, and it kind of started. We started getting a following after that.
Fantastic. No, I mean, who would rather, you pick, let's see, I can go to CNET and look at an app review, or I can go to Dayfly and look at the Fly Girls talking about apps. I mean, it's a no-brainer kind of situation. So, and a little known fact, I actually was a former Fly Girl. I did a couple app reviews before I became involved with thisweekend.com. And I believe I reviewed Angry Birds.
Angry Birds.
Because it's a fantastic app.
Yeah.
Paper toss.
Oh, yes, we did the paper toss. And
Sit
then
and
that
squat.
And then
Yeah.
that birthday cake app.
Yes.
Where you can like light up
birthday
birthday,
app.
and you can like blow out the birthday. Have you seen that one?
No.
You're looking
It's
at me like
great.
I'm
Yeah,
crazy.
It's a perfect
That I am.
app for when, someone in the office, if you kind of forgot their birthday and, you find out that it is their birthday, you can bring over the iPad and be like, happy birthday, sing,
Give them
and blow out the
something, yeah.
candles.
Or you
Yeah.
just don't want to spend that extra money on
Yeah.
a cake. You're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like
It's better
the
than
cheap
like
man's version.
emailing them a photo of a cake. Have you ever gotten an email with a photo of flowers before? And they're like,
Really?
hey, this lasts forever. Real ones die. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, you're just cheap.
Right.
Emailing me a photo. But this is at least a little like,
Well, you can blow out the
some effort.
candles. It
Yeah.
kind of has effects to it, and
you can customize the cake.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, you should look it up sometime.
I will do that.
All right. And you guys are doing a really cool giveaway, right?
Yes.
What is that all about? How do I, you guys are giving away free iPads, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
iPad a day. So if you sign up with us, we put you in the drawing, and then we give away an iPad a day.
Every day you're giving
Every
away an
day.
iPad.
Yep.
Is this like
Yes.
infinite? Does it end sometime?
We're thinking
Not-
about
not
the next
anywhere.
month or two that we're going to
So
continue
it's
doing
open.
that.
Did you hear that, everyone out there? If you watch the show and you want to win a free iPad, you have to go to dayfly.com. Let's bring up the website again so you guys can take a look at it. Up here, they have all the different episodes. They have funny videos. You guys have the free apps section. And then they also have the Fly Girls where we can learn all about, look at, there's you guys. You can learn all about the Fly Girls. And then you guys also is the promo codes, is that up and running yet, or is that still under construction?
The what?
The promo codes, get free promo codes for free apps?
Well, that's the highlighting when we're highlighting the free apps every day.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get you. Very awesome. So who are some of the other Fly Girls that you guys work with?
We're kind of a rotating few, but we like to bring in girls who love apps because a lot of, you always think apps are for guys.
Yeah.
But, I mean, girls love them, and I have a lot of girls who play pranks on me all the time, and I'm like, oh my God, what app did you just discover? So we bring them in and have them do our videos.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's very true that you don't see a lot of women in technology in general, especially attractive women in technology. Normally it's like your traditional like geekster girl with like the ponytail and the glasses and no makeup. I mean, and that's kind of like...
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, you're right. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm saying when you're trying to be a cut above, bells and whistles are always appreciated. At least I think that, and I am not ashamed to say that.
And you'd be surprised because a lot of my female friends who love apps actually like apps that you think that men would appreciate.
Exactly.
They're not doing these apps that are all beauty tips or anything like that. I mean, my girlfriend told me about Scanner 911, and you'd think that's something for men,
Right, or fake conversation.
Yeah.
That's always a good one.
Fake conversation, what's that one?
Oh, it's not an iPad app, but it's an iPhone app. So if we were doing the tweet it, the guy in the red jacket would probably win. But it's a great app because it's basically like it's kind of if you're at a bar or something like that and you want to impress the person next to you, you basically press this app and it's fake conversation and you can have different occupations. So like let's say for instance. The guy looks like he might be impressed if you're a doctor or a lawyer, that type of thing. So you're like, you punch in doctor. So then the phone will ring and it will prompt you. So it will be like, okay, can you bring the legal briefs for the McCarthy case over to the office right now? And then so literally like it prompts you exactly what to say. And so, you can be a lawyer, a doctor. I mean, there's all different things. Television producer.
Wow.
So it's really fun. But a girl told us about that. And you totally would think that'd be a guy like
Absolutely.
Trying to show off.
like,
I'd like
hey,
to.
what's your
Jacob,
sign?
look at the
help,
iPad
so,
can
yeah,
There you
get
go.
some
writing
Write
games.
that down, Jacob.
I'd want like a blue collar, some
Yeah,
like mechanic
totally.
being like, yeah, so the transmission.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll definitely have to check that one out. So what is the future of Dayfly? Like, is this just going to be like an ongoing app review site, or do you guys have other side projects or other companies that you work with?
Right now, we're just kind of doing our iPad, Droid, and iPhone reviews and giving the iPads away and just kind of letting everything grow organically. And it's kind of a side hobby for us.
We do a lot of other things, like apps.
Of course.
We have a lot to
Yeah,
offer.
absolutely. So does this mean you guys are going to get a Galaxy Tab thing going on now because the iPad is getting some competition with the tablets coming out? You're going to start to break into that Android market?
A little bit, I think we might have to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things are changing, so you
Things are
got to adapt
changing.
with the change.
That's very true. Now, I just have one more question before we go on to Planet of the Apps. You guys do a lot of work with the Dream Foundation, correct?
Yes.
You guys want to talk a little bit about that and give them some love on the show?
They're fantastic. We had a launch a few months ago, and we worked in conjunction with them, and they're just an amazing organization that we're very proud to be a part of. Being able to offer that service for people that have terminally ill diseases is just something that is just pretty special. So to be affiliated with that on such a small level, to be able to give back is really great.
Fantastic. And for all those viewers out there who don't know about the Dream Foundation, it's very similar to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, except it's not for children. It's for adults who have families, who have, other people in their life that have been diagnosed with terminal illnesses. So it allows them to reconnect with old family members, like have family reunions, go on dream vacations, things like that. So it really is kind of like a Make-A-Wish for adults.
Exactly.
That's a correct kind of description for it, right?
Completely.
Awesome. So if you guys want to learn more about Dayfly and their app reviews, and please do check out their site. They have some really, really hilarious app reviews on there. You can check them out. You can learn all about all the different girls. And like they said, they are giving away an iPad a day. So all you got to do is you go to the site and you click on the subscribe. It's right up here in the corner. See this little orange button? You just click there. You enter in your email address. And then you have to come back to the site to check to see if you won. But I mean, it's all you got to do is enter in your email address, and you could win a free iPad. So
Really
it's
simple.
fantastic. Exactly.
And if we don't get rid of them, we'll just have to sell them on eBay. So might as well sign up.
Right. So they're basically begging you to take the free iPads off their hands. So don't make them work any harder than they have to. So now we're going to move on to Planet of the Apps. And ladies, you can feel free to tell us what you think. This is the segment of the show where Jacob and I bring together a bunch of different apps and we kind of throw them in the pit together and see which one can claw its way out of the top. So,
Something like that.
roll that video.
Don't download it, Mon. You might not like how it runs.
It'll never get old.
Absolutely. So today on Planet of the Apps, we are doing a sports vertical because this is a really exciting time for sports this time of year. We're about to go into the World Series. Football season is in full swing. We're in preseason for the NBA, and NHL hockey's already going.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is just like, it's like the best time to be a sports
Premier
fan.
League's in full swing.
Oh, yes, this is true. This is true. Giving a shout out. So today, my first app that we're talking about is one that Erin mentioned, is the MLB app. Now, this is the MLB app for 2010. This is a really cool app for baseball fans. And if you have a registration or membership with MLB.com, you can actually even get exclusive live game coverage. So they have the score boxes over here. That was a crazy game last night between the Phillies and the Giants. They have all the stats for who's doing what. They have highlights right here where you can, I believe you can watch video highlights, which I think is awesome. If you're a baseball fan, this is kind of like, I mean, what's better than watching highlights? Okay, it's loading. Come on, don't take so long. All right, I'm going to come back to that later. No one wants to watch the loading screen. So they have when all the games for the World Series will be up here. They have over here where you can watch live on TV. They have all kinds of news. So let's say I wanted to look up the news on what's going on right now. So they have the latest headlines for all the different teams. You can do it for the league as a whole. You can do it by team if you want to. Let's say I have the Los Angeles Dodgers picked as one of my favorite teams. So we could look at, if I just wanted to look at what's going on with the Dodgers right now, you can just look at Dodgers news. I mean, but no one really wants to watch Dodgers news. They had a really pathetic end to their season.
Catch up on the divorce. It'll be okay.
Yeah, right, exactly. That case is still going on right now, isn't it?
And real quick, if Jamie wins, it's going to go on for years. So it'll be fun. Yay!
That's kind of true. Now that you bring that up,
No.
so this is a really cool feature. I mean, if you're a baseball fan and you don't have this app and you own an iPad, you are behind.
Yeah.
Is essentially the end of the day.
It and Plants vs. Zombies were the two apps that really sort of swung me towards buying one when I was playing around with it. Because how it works usually during the regular season, and they release a new app every year, so 2011 will come out with some new stuff, but I imagine it'll be the same thing. If you're an MLB TV subscriber, you can watch all the games that aren't in your area, so you actually can't watch Dodger games if you're in LA at the time. But other than that, you can watch all the games, and even if you aren't, they usually pick 2 or 3 per week or so that's free for everyone, and it works really, really well. And with the app, I think it's $15. You get audio, no matter what, free, no matter what, no blackout restrictions. So, for a Dodger fan who grew up with Vin Scully, it's always nice to hear. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, this app by itself without the extra subscription is $4.99. So it's pretty reasonably priced as far as the sport apps
They
go.
discounted it for the postseason, which is good to hear. You know, they might have been able to get away with, hey, you get audio, you should pay us $15 again. So, good to hear.
Exactly. So what do you have over there?
Real quick in the chat, Mogul Perez suggests that I'm too good for using something like fake conversations. I'm not. Anyways, so I'm going to start with the Sports Illustrated app, which Lon and I actually talked about in the news a little bit ago. There are my Colts intercepting the Redskins. It's basically Sports Illustrated, the magazine. Let me see if I can get to the store. It does not come with a free issue, which is sort of a bummer. It's a free app, but you would think they would give you a little bit of you can preview an app or an issue, all the issues, but it's not the same thing really. So each issue is either $6 or $4. You can sort of preview it. You get a little bit extra in it, like news and scores, but news and scores is weird in that it's not a section. It pops up in a modal window, and it's kind of this ugly, half-formed version of the Sports Illustrated site, so it's not really worth it for that. So you're really only going to get this if you're into the magazine, you're maybe a subscriber.
Do they have a special swimsuit tab?
Let's see. They don't have a special swimsuit tab. I I don't think the swimsuit edition is in the store, but I could be totally wrong.
I don't think it is in the store
Yeah,
right now
it
either.
isn't, but
so this
we'll see
you can't look at archives. You can only look
no.
at ones that are currently available.
Right, because and the reason why it was in the news, and I'll show this because I have, where are my issues? Cover anyways, is that it does not work like this. Everything is it was basically, they decided the images will work, but when you get to the actual magazine, it's only going to work. No, they lied to me. So it might be even future issues. I'll have to look this up. But the big news is they were saying at a certain point they were only going to support one certain way, and that they were going to get rid, I believe, of portrait mode. So you wouldn't be able to read it like this. I don't know when that is. I'm sort of actually surprised that this one's working like it, because I thought it was a week or so ago. Basically saying it costs too much to have to design the thing for both ways. They're going to cut costs. No one's reading it like this anyways.
Right.
Which, when that happens, it'll be a bummer. It'll be interesting to see if they put the cost towards the issue, because $5, $6 per issue when it's a weekly magazine is a little steep.
It is very steep.
You're looking at
yeah.
$25 or $30 a month, and it's
Your
not so much.
subscription won't cost you that much. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you can just browse it at the newsstand.
and you get a few extras things like videos and stuff like that, but overall, it's if you've been a Sports Illustrated fan, you want to get away from wasting all the paper, go a little bit more green, go for it. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of. It's not like the MLB app where it just sort of blows you away. It's just the magazine.
Speaking of
on
which,
the
I
iPad.
got this video up. If you guys want to watch it, they have highlight videos. So
We're on iPad. There you go.
yes. Oh no, what happened? Oh, that was it. That was the highlight.
They saw that Beck was my background. They just wanted to stare at it for a little bit more.
Right. So one of the other apps that I found was called Football Rules. Now, it has a double entendre meaning. Basically, all this app does is tell you the rules of football. You can look at NCAA rules, or you can look at NFL rules. It has officials, jurisdictions, positions, and duties. Definitions, summary of penalties. So let's say you wanted to look, like down here they have all the different penalties. Delay of game, illegal substitution, running into the kicker, encroachment. If you wanted to look at what these actually were defined as, you can look it up. So it says, 15 yards and loss of coin toss option. That penalty comes from a team's late arrival on the field prior to scheduled kickoff, or the captain's not appearing for the coin toss. So it's like all those little nitpicky rules that you're at the bar arguing about, going, that's BS, that's not a penalty. Well, now you have an app that will actually tell you, and this is my favorite part about it. It actually shows you the referee signals. So when you're out there watching them, give their signals or do these things, and you have no idea what they're doing, now you can look it up and look up what all the ref signals are. So you got face mask, first down, holding, illegal contact. This one I liked, illegal crackback. I actually had to ask one of our studio techs what that was. I'd never heard of that before. And I'm a football fan. It's pretty sad, isn't it? Illegal motion at the snap. So it's kind of cool. I mean, this is a really, really simple app. I'm not going to try to make it seem like it's free, so that's the bonus.
Simple is one way to put it.
Well, how would you put it?
Ugly might be one.
It is definitely. It's totally ugly. Look at it. It's Times New Roman. It's basically like a Word document.
It looks like a Word document in combination of ref pictures, which I mean, I'm just confused why you would need this app as opposed to just Googling on mobile Safari.
Well, maybe because
You need to be meaner.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Let's do a little test run then. If you think that it's so easy, how about I'll pull up my Safari right now. We'll Google football rules and see how easy it is to find. I'm trying to root for this app, but then again, I'm not really trying to root for this app. So football rules, search. We'll see how easy it is. Okay, so there's the NFL rule book. We'll just pick that out right away. And I guess it's pretty easy to find them.
And I just Googled crackback, a block by an offensive player who is usually spread out away from the main body of the formation and runs back and towards the ball at the snap.
Oh, well, thank you for clearing that up for me.
There you
Hey,
go.
listen, I didn't say that this was my favorite pick. What do you got
Yeah.
over there? Because clearly my app sucks.
I don't think it sucks. It's a common trend of a lot of these apps that
It's
just
okay. It's laziness is what it is.
No. Well, but I mean, I almost did hockey rules, which I think is done by the same people because I kind of wanted a crappy app to review. But there's so many of these apps that just take really, easy to get information, slap it in there, put a scroll bar on it, and put ads on it, and that's all it. And in this case, they went the little extra step and took some bought a $10 ref shirt and took some pictures of them doing all the stuff. But again, even that you can Google and get. So it seems I like keeping my apps to a minimum, and like the only ones I know I'm gonna love using, and if it's easily replaced by a Google search, I don't understand why I'd get it.
No, that's a very good point.
So I'm going to do two real quick in that they're both similar things. It's SportsTap and Score Center XL, which are both basically, they cover all sports. They have all the scores and box scores and stuff like that and some news. I didn't do Sportstacular on Yahoo, which is actually the main one I use on my phone because I was having difficulty downloading it. So that might be worth, they're all free, so it's worth checking them all out and see what you're like. This is SportsTap, which is what I used originally. It's really simple and sort of almost un-iOS-esque in that it's this very black and orange color scheme. It doesn't have, like, I'm clicking these things and there's nothing that tells me I'm clicking it. There's these small things that you're sort of used to in iPhone apps that sort of eventually is why I switched. The information's really good, and if we can see if I can find a way to go back to the home screen. This on the right I really liked. Is just a collection of, I believe, AP images that were coming out throughout the day in that sport. So here's, again, I'm going to just show my Colts because that's what I do. And so that was really good. I think it's a really elegant way to present it and more sort of iOS-esque. But other than that, the sort of information itself isn't that elegant. Better job is ESPN, although I have my qualms about this too.
I have that up on mine too. I actually really love this app.
I think it's really beautiful. They have the bottom line all the time showing you sort of hot news, and you can click it to bring up the news story. And that it's really well slick. It's really well done. My one beef is that it's a little unintuitive. Like for me, you load it and you click My Teams. And one thing I really, really like about this that some apps don't do enough is that they require you to log in to be able to get the My Teams imported in. And here it is just, no, just pick a couple and you're good to go.
Right.
But once I did that, I wasn't getting Colts, Dodgers, Liverpool information. I was just getting normal thing. And then I had to go into settings and then keep going deeper down until I figured out, oh, you want to see your team information first? Yes. So the menu, the organization could be a little bit cleaner. But other than that, for American sports, at least, ESPN really is probably the premier place to get it.
Right.
It's a little tainted. There's a little East Coast bias on it. But other than that, it tends to be a great place to get information, news, and video, and it's presented really well, and it's free. So that goes from, of the four, I'm going with MLB.
Ladies, what do you think?
I'm a huge fan of the ESPN app, just because I follow soccer, and during the World Cup, they had like the best updates out of all the other sites that I have found. And now that the Europe Cup is coming up, I always look up on ESPN. So for myself, ESPN is like the way to go.
Yeah, ESPN is great, and it's free. But if we're talking about quality of apps, I got to go with the MLB app. Yeah.
And a lot of that might just, I mean, the app itself is wonderful. If you don't, I've never streamed a look of it. It's a great way to get scores, the sort of the pitch information as you watch live and just seeing where the break is and how fast it's going. It's really incredible. And that part, you don't have to pay any licensing for it. That said, you'd really, really wish that leagues other than Major League Baseball would get on this streaming thing.
I don't know why the NFL is.
It's because they're getting a lot of money from DirecTV. But a league like the NHL or sort of maybe even a more American presence of La Liga or the Premier League or something like that, where they don't have to worry about television rights issues like they do here, you would think they'd be all over it.
Yeah.
It's easy to do this day and age, and they would make a ton of money.
No. Does the NFL have their own app? I looked for it and I couldn't find it.
They have the Steve Madden app, right?
EA put out a Madden app, which I reviewed a little bit ago, which is it's fun, but in terms of information, they're kind of lacking it. Do
you think that they're like, well, everyone's covering us anyway, why should we have to waste the development money? I think people would buy it like crazy. NFL fans are like hardcore dedicated money spenders,
I mean, I think there's just still, like a lot of sports leagues, they're just so obsessed with TV rights is where the money is, and that's where they're going to get all the money. And I mean, NFL just this, DirecTV, I think last year had a streaming thing on a computer. I believe NFL this year developed its own for international customers. But other than that, it's a little depressing.
Yes. Yeah. All right, so I think we'll decide that MLB won the Planet of the Apps this week, and that is the end of our show. Wouldn't you know it? We ran out of time.
Over.
We did go over.
It was a good episode. It was worth it.
Yes, absolutely. We had
people yelling at us.
Yate and Erin join us from dayofly.com. Be sure you check out dayofly.com to watch all of their awesome app reviews and subscribe to potentially win a free iPad. So head on over there and do that. I also want to thank hover.com. You can go to twi.hover.com if you need to get a domain name. You can get .me's for just $5 or $4.50 with our promotional code. And if you need to transfer a domain, you can do it at hover.com. And of course, gazelle.com, another one of our awesome sponsors. If you have old electronic items that you want to get rid of and you want to get cash for your gadgets, go to gazelle.com. All right, so that is it for the show today. I'm Andrea Renee. You can find me on Twitter at Andrea Renee or AndreaRenee.com or on YouTube at my gamer handle, Balassimo1, BLSSM01. Jacob, where can the people find you?
Jacob Birch, JACOB BURCH. Not I. I'm not a tree on Twitter. Best way to get me.
Birch with a U.
Birch with a U.
All right, everyone. That was a great show. We have a potential really awesome interview with a huge game publisher next week. I'm going to keep it a secret, but come back. They're a really amazing, very successful game publisher, and hopefully they will be on the show with us next week. And that is all we've got for This Week in iPad. This Week in Video Games is coming up right after this, so stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you next week.